Bushman, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me on the show.
I'm excited. I think you officially own the title of meet how I met a guest in the coolest place in the coolest way possible. So we met sitting at Bar Riva at Riviera Resort in Walt Disney World, and who knew we'd end up here? Who knew?
I didn't know, didn't expect that to happen, but it did. So everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer of that.
That's it, dude. Yeah, I love it because you were so nonchalant, and then you left, and your wife drops on me and my wife that you're a famous Detroit DJ, and immediately I'm like, I gotta find this guy. I gotta find him. I gotta find him on the internet. I gotta find out who he is. And it's just wild, man. And down the rabbit hole I went. We'll get into all the crazy stuff, but let's talk about who is Bushman today, and then we'll break down how you got there.
Bushman today is my alter ego. So who you saw at the bar was actually JD, the quiet introvert who just kind of sits there, watches people, and minds his business while he enjoys his Tito sodas with a splash of cranberry. Bushman is the entertainer, voice of the radio in Detroit, who loves helping people. He loves helping people achieve their dreams. He loves helping people work on their mental health. He loves just giving back. That's who Bushman is today. Now, the other problem with that Bushman is he spends so much time doing that for others, he doesn't always do for himself.
Mm. I hear that. I hear that, dude. And it's so funny that you say it's like an alter ego, right? Like I have an alter ego as well. It's kind of it's me turned up to 10, right? When I'm on a stage or doing these interviews. I'm
Yeah.
naturally an introvert. And people think that I'm like this extrovert who wants to be hanging out with people all the time. But there's a switch that flips when you're serving your purpose, right? And you're able to dial it up to 10 and show up as your best self, so to say, right? And so like how do you get ready to turn it on, right? Because it's not always easy.
Oh, it's very difficult. Like when I go on stage at a comedy show or a concert, it's not until I hear that first scream or, I'll say something on the mic just to get them excited. And once I hear that, then the switch turns on. When I get on the radio, it's I got to do something that just stands out. And I usually start my show off with a daily affirmation. So it's whatever I'm feeling that day. So then that's me getting something off my chest, you know, and then just do something exciting, do something abnormal. And then that's how I turn the switch on.
Yeah, and it's funny because obviously in radio, you're just talking to a microphone. You're not hearing people cheering, you're not hearing people react, and you have to trust your instinct as you go through. Give me an example of your daily affirmation.
Daily affirmation today was check on your people. It may be sunny outside, but it might be cloudy in somebody's head. And you never know what somebody's going through. So just check on your people, make sure they're good. And don't just take, yeah, I'm all right, as they're good. Make sure they're good because you never know what somebody's going through. And tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah, dude, I love that one. And it's so true. So often there are people going through, you know, a dark cloud moment in their life and they're not sure how to handle it, but they on the outside it's just they're smiling, right? And you have to really be like, no, how are you, like, no, truly, how are you doing? And I think that's such great advice for people to hear, and I hope people take action on that, because when you think about it, so many people just go, oh, they heard it good, so I did my part. I did my
Yeah.
part, and they wash their hands of it. So how did you end up as a radio DJ, right? Because when I think about it, I think that there are so many people when they were kids, like, I want to be a radio DJ or I want to be a DJ, and they don't quite get to the top of the mountain like you have. How did that whole process happen for you?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna try to make this crazy story. Give you the short version of it. Um, Back when I was in North Carolina, I had a friend named Clark. He was older than me, but he taught me how to DJ. Clark graduated, was driving a beer truck for Budweiser, and then he ended up being on the radio on a local radio station out of Kinston, North Carolina. Well, I'm listening to him. I think this is the coolest thing in the world. I know him. He sounds different on the radio, but I know him. And I decided that I wanted to do that. So when I went to college, I studied broadcast media and got into radio. Clark went back to driving the Budweiser truck.
Hmm.
I guess he felt like he could make more money doing that. And I just inspired to be the best that I could possibly be and try to keep climbing the rope to new heights. And that's how I ended up being on the radio.
Yeah, and so why Detroit? Because I just heard North Carolina. When we were hanging out with you and your wife, you guys were talking about your house in California. Why Detroit? How'd you end up there?
Funny thing. So I was in North Carolina. Well, obviously I grew up there, and I felt, you ever feel like when you outgrown something, like
Yeah.
that you're destined to do more. There's something else out there for you. So I felt that, and so I started applying for gigs, and for some reason, I wanted to be by the beach, and so I kept applying to these jobs that were out there around the beach, and they were offering me either less money or the same money but more work. I'm like, well, doesn't sound fair or right. And then I applied for some things that I just didn't think I would even consider. Providence, Rhode Island. I'm like, it's cold there, but I'll do it. And then I applied to a job in Chicago. The only rejection letter I ever got was for WGCI. And then I applied for a job here because I heard there was an opening. And I got a call. And 31 years later, I'm still here.
I love it, dude. I love it. And so, and obviously, look, you've grown to a point where you're one of the more popular shows. You get to interview some of the coolest people in music and beyond, including President Biden, which we'll get to. But like you see all of this as you kind of navigate through your life, and you just keep climbing the ranks, climbing the ranks. Is there a moment where you went, "Oh, like this is what I set out to do, and I finally made it"? Or are you still reaching for that next level?
Oh, I'm still reaching. I'm hungry. I'm still reaching. I mean, I've achieved things that weren't even on the list. Um, you know, I never thought about being in a major movie. I ended up being in 8 Mile.
Yeah,
Never thought about, yeah, never thought about doing any reality TV shows. I've been on 4 or 5 of them now. The last one being Bar Rescue. I never thought about. I've done music. When I left North Carolina, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just trying to be that guy on the radio. So I've achieved a lot, but I'm still hungry and I still want more.
Yeah. So wait, I need to find this episode of Bar Rescue because I used to binge watch that show back in the day before I was married with stepkids and I had time to do nothing. I would binge watch Bar Rescue. So I have to find this episode. Tell me about John Taffer.
So John wasn't there for me. I had Phil. Phil's super cool guy. This one is in Toledo. Is the raw chicken episode. Uh,
Yeah.
they they're different. They study these bars before they go in there. So we knew what we had choice of what we could order, drinks and food. I've never had a bad chicken wing in my life until this bar rescue episode. It was I couldn't even get the taste out my mouth. It was so bad. It was
Oh.
bad. And the drink that I had was so bad. It had 8 different types of rum, an ounce each. And it came in a bucket. And it had 3 different types of juices in it. But every time you took a sip, it tasted like dirt or
Oh.
mop. Yeah. And you would think though, the longer it sat there, the ice would melt, it would get a little bit weaker. No, just the opposite. It got stronger. It was my kryptonite. It
Oh.
took weeks to eat wings again or to have a drink because it was wild. It was really, really wild.
I've always wondered with that show, like how staged it is or how set up it might be. But you're saying it's legit as far as, well, obviously they tell you what to order because they know it's bad already. But all that stuff, it's pretty legit.
So like we went in and filmed our part on a Tuesday. Their stress test was on a Wednesday. When they kicked everybody out on that Wednesday evening, they immediately went to work on remodeling. And the reveal was on that Friday.
Wow. It's crazy.
And Yeah, and they're sort of all self-contained. It's really cool. I mean, how they did that.
So,
So
I think about what you do and what I do, and there's some similarities as far as sitting down with individuals and interviewing them and getting all the good stuff out of the conversations that you want to get out of. How do you prepare for an interview? Because I just saw recently one of the Wayans brothers, I forget which one.
Marlon,
Yeah, so you just chatted with Marlon Wayans and all these things. Like, how do you come up with the conversation pieces? Because especially in your radio, it's a much shorter conversation that I get to do than what I get to do.
well, I've known Marlon for a little bit now. I mean, it's not like we BFFs or anything like that, but I know him for a little bit, and the way I like to start is just talking, just to start talking, and before you know it, we've done had an interview and conversation, and it's we're done. You know, I yes, I do have questions prepared. I do have things like me asking him, could he, can I be in a scary movie and will you kill me? You know, that just they're not expecting that. And then I like to ask the unexpected questions. Sometimes I'll ask somebody, okay, if you were a superhero, what would your superpower be? And that just throws them off. Or, you know, what kind of cereal do you eat? Frosted Flakes, Fruity Pebbles, Rice Krispies? What is it? Um, just to loosen things up because a lot of interviews, it's the same question over and over again. How is this scary movie different from the other scary movies? No, kill me, put me in, kill me. You know, as he said, shoot your poison. I got you.
Yeah, dude, and that's so smart too because it makes you stand out, right? And like people ask me all the time, like, how do you form friendships and relationships with the people that you interview? Because I've had some rather big names on the show and have stayed connected with them, and I think it's because I think outside of the box when it comes to questions, and I do the research, and I do something that they remember in their mind. Because especially now, I mean, it was different. I started this 10 years ago when not many podcasts existed. So doing a podcast interview was a big deal. Now they just, okay, like, I got a book coming out. I'm going to do 100 podcasts, right? So it's like one conversation after another. But like, it is really that, like, what can I do that's a little bit different? And then they remember you. And I remember your wife talking in Disney, she was talking about how, 2 Chainz knows who you are and all these things, right? And I guarantee you, 2 Chainz does not remember every single radio DJ he sat down with and had an interview with. What do you
No,
think it is that sets you apart? Is it just that thinking outside of the box?
thinking outside of the box. I remember, like, and also doing your research. Like, I did an interview once with Waka Flocka. He was doing a show here at DTE. And I realized at midnight it was his birthday. So we did some research to find out what was his favorite drink. So I went and bought him a bottle of Hennessy. But we found out he also likes that light skin one where it's clear, but it's not easily found. But I sent somebody out to the hood. They found him a pint. So he's in there. We're doing the interview. Blah blah blah. I give him the bottle. He was like, oh, because he couldn't. He didn't even remember his birthday was at midnight.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So I gave him that bottle. He was all happy. We're still talking, chatting, or whatever. She all of a sudden walks in with a brown. Imagine this: a brown paper bag with a pint in it. And then I said, and this is a special one. We had to go to the hood to find this one for you. Gave it to him. He was like, oh my God, this light skinned boy. He cracks the bottle right there in the studio and takes a swig. A few months later, I'm in LA for an award show. Him and his boys see me. They run through the crowd, round tables. Everybody's like, what is happening? They thinking he's getting ready to jump somebody. Then they get ready to jump me. Oh, they jump me. They hug me and hug me and hug me. Thank you, man. We appreciate you, man. Good to see you. Blah, blah, blah. And then they went on. Never did an interview with me, but they went on. Did press with everybody else, but they just came to hug me. And it's little moments like that that I think, you people remember you.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question that a lot of people ask me. Do you ever kind of look back and kind of look at your career and trajectory and the friendships that you've been able to make doing this and think about, young Bushman, like looking up and going, whoa, I really kind of accomplished this? Or are you that person who's like, I'm in the moment and then on to the next?
Um, I probably would say I live in the moment. Um, and then I'm on to the next. And it takes somebody to remind me of what I've done and what I've accomplished and how many lives that I've touched and how many people that I have met or helped or even lost, over the years. I just don't ever think about it because I'm still hungry. I'm hungry for more.
Yeah, dude, I love it. And honestly, it feels like you're that way because it's not about you, right? It is about everybody else. It's about helping them kind of achieve what they want to achieve or overcome what they need to overcome. And I think that's what makes you such an incredible person, and really why we're having this conversation. Because if you were the opposite type of person, I would have never reached out and been like, dude, you got to come on the show. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you're a giver through and through. And those are my people. Has there been a moment for you in the career where you were like, I can't believe this is happening right now?
Yeah. Um, I think the first time that happened is when we did 8 Mile, and I've only watched the movie in its entirety once.
Wow.
I know everybody in the movie. I know all these spots that we filmed and that were filmed in the movie. And the success of that movie was scary. Nobody knew it was going to do what it did.
Yeah.
And it's still to this day, when it comes on TV, somebody is guaranteed to text me or send me a screenshot of it being on. And it blows my mind that that happened.
How did you end up being in that film? Obviously, it takes place in Detroit. You're a prominent DJ, but why you? There are other prominent DJs, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I auditioned with Molly Finn. Um, and then I came to work and they said, hey, they want you to audition for this role. I'm like, all right. And I went in and I auditioned. Obviously, I ended up getting the role, but I actually almost got another role in the movie versus being myself. But they said I didn't look young enough. But then I also almost got another movie that was going to be shot in Hawaii, but I didn't have the traditional African look. But I mean, I learned right then all it takes is that one audition to get you something else that you weren't even looking at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did,
So
did you know Eminem before
yeah,
the movie? Okay.
yeah,
So obviously that makes it a little bit better for you in that experience. The scene you're in is a little inappropriate, so I'm not going to clip it in when I pull clips from here. I can't do that. But it's a super prominent role. Like it's long. It's a long scene, and you've got a lot of lines, and you're going through it, man. So like, kudos to you for landing that. I think that's an absolutely incredible moment in your life, and that movie is truly iconic.
yeah. Well, here's something that you don't know. We shot that scene on New Year's Eve. Uh, Call time was 6:30 in the morning.
Ugh.
This is before all the music and commercials were on, the computer. So I had to pay a kid to run my show because I wasn't going to be done in time. So instead of taking lunch, I ran to the radio station, recorded all these breaks. I had a New Year's Eve party that I was supposed to do too. Paid him to run this stuff for me. Come back, film, go back to the station, finish up my show, change clothes, and then run and do a New Year's Eve party. I was up literally for 24 hours straight.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. So it was just the one day of shooting for that scene.
Yeah, well, it was one day, well, 2 days, 2 days on set, only one day of shooting. The day before, we were on set all day, and then they didn't think they were going to get to us. We changed clothes. Then they told us to put the clothes back on, and then they put us on set, did all Curtis was all like, yeah, there you go. Yeah, you all right, see you back here tomorrow morning, 6:30. Okay.
Yeah, I've never been on a movie, but from people that I've talked to that have, they're like, it's a lot of sitting around and waiting. It's
Yep.
like just
Well,
waiting for the next scene.
during the fight scenes, because we were 2 rooms over from where they were fighting, we could hear everything, but we still had to do our lines in case the camera caught us. And instead of us just sitting there looking like, oh wow, they're fighting. Yeah.
Catch you through that window.
Oh yeah. Hmm. And
So I
truth.
don't want.
Go
Sorry, go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna just tell you a little behind the scene thing.
Yeah.
They during the fight scene, um, M accidentally hit Eugene once and caused some blood, and Eugene actually hit M once and caused some blood. So there's a little, BTS for you.
I'm not totally surprised. Obviously, Eminem is not a trained actor or trained as stunt
Yeah.
fighter, all that stuff. I'm sure that happens quite often when it's that type of role.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, and not to get, I don't want to get political. I hate all politics. I hate both sides. They're all the worst. But what was it like? I think any person who interviews people, no matter whether they agree with him or not, they would love to interview a president.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Were there nerves? What was that whole sequence like?
Um, I wasn't nervous. I mean, um, I've interviewed Obama, I've interviewed Clinton, I interviewed Hillary, I
Wow.
interviewed a lot of different political figures. So I wasn't nervous. Um, I remember I was at a hotel actually when I did it. Um, and it wasn't that bad. I knew what I was going to ask beforehand. I gave them information on myself, so when you listen to the interview, it makes it seem like we know each other. But
Yeah.
it was the first time that we've ever spoken. It was the crazy thing after that because there was a whole bunch of stuff that went on where a radio DJ said that they were given the questions to ask. And then that became a whole thing. And I think they got let go. And then somebody else said it. And then all of a sudden, for 2 weeks, I had news outlets. I don't know how they got my number, how they found the backdoor emails. They were on me. So I was literally every time I got one, I sent it to my big boss. He sent it to corporate. I said, I'm not answering, responding. I'm not doing any of this stuff. I don't know. But they were after me to ask me questions about that interview.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, there's so many eyes on that type of thing. I was trying to get somebody who was former royalty on my show because I had a connection, and like I got to the point where they were like, "You can't ask these things, you can't talk about this stuff, you can't do this," and it never ended up happening. But like
Mm,
it was an interesting thing to see when they're at that level, like how many protections they put up and how many what are we going to walk through, what are we not. And the
yeah.
best part is I didn't listen to it. I read the transcript because if you Google you, that comes up a ton.
Oh,
And I love how at the end he was like, "Oh, Bush," he kept calling you Bush. He's
yeah.
like, "Bush, I can't wait to hang out, man. We got to get together."
Yeah.
did
It was like, we got to get you at the White House. I'm like, all right, no problem. I can come. So,
we
yeah, whatever. Yeah.
did that
It,
ever
it,
happen?
no, it never happened.
That's so
Never. I didn't even think it was going to happen. I just thought it sounded cool.
It
You
did.
know?
It was a great rap when somebody who's the president of the United States says, "Yo, we got to get together." All
Yeah.
right, yeah, let's
Yeah.
make that happen.
Yeah, yeah. Let's make it happen. Have your people call my people. We can make that happen. Have another Bush back up in the White House for a minute.
Uh,
No, like I said, the outcome of that was crazy, really, really crazy. I wasn't expecting any of that.
Yeah, and it definitely again like I said when you Google you it comes up like crazy, and it's just a fascinating thing and again I think anybody who does interviews no matter what you are politically it's a dream type of interview to be able to sit down and you've done it multiple times which
Yeah.
is just absolutely insane. So I want to ask you a question that I ask every single person on this show. It's a
Okay.
two-part question. The
Okay.
first part is what is your definition of success, and the second part is what are three things you do every single day to ensure that success for yourself.
For me, making a difference in somebody else's life. I go talk to kids. I talk to somebody. If I say something and I'm in a room and I made a difference in one person's life, change the trajectory of where they were going, that's success. What I do every day, I try to do something every day, at least one thing that people can remember. Um, I try to uplift myself every day because there's a lot of days, you come in, you go on the radio, you got to smile, you got to be happy, but you're not feeling it some days. I mean, today I'm tired, um, but I work on myself every day. And I put down one thing on my today to-do list that's a must. One of these things has to be done today, you know, for me to be able to lay my head down on my pillow and feel like I accomplished everything. Even if I miss a break on the radio, okay, that's fine. I missed a break. But one of these three things I got to do today.
I love it. So, how much has radio changed in how we do things over the last 30, what'd you say, 32 years?
31.
31 years.
But yeah, well, everything's on computer now. A lot of things are internet based. It's way different.
Yeah.
Way different. I can do my show in any studio in this building right now and change the background or whatever, just with a click of a button. If I'm not feeling well, I can literally log on at home and do my show, and you would never know it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, technology.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so funny. Like, and is it so? Here's a question I'm curious of, and don't hate me, but I have Sirius XM. But so with with that being said, is it live?
Yeah, I mean, I can record it or I can do it live. You know, it depends on the day. How am I feeling? Am I in tune? But in the day of social media and you having to be on top of your game, um, sometimes it's easier to record as you go. So you don't miss any breaks, but you don't miss posting something about Angel Reese blocking half of Detroit after the Orlando Magic lost last night,
Yeah.
which is actually something that's happening right now. um, so it just all depends.
So, and the reason I'm curious of that because there's certain things on Sirius that's like a celebrity that's recording stuff, and I'm like, there's no way that they're recording this right now. Like, there's no way it's live. It's got to be pre-recorded.
Oh yeah, probably a lot of that stuff is pre-recorded, and if you listen to some radio stations, they'll say a portion of this broadcast has been pre-recorded.
Got it.
So some is live, some is pre-recorded. You just never know.
And I'm always impressed with DJs on the radio, and my whole life I've always been impressed with this. When they're talking and they're saying their thing right before they play a song, and they play the song, and the song's playing in the background, and they perfectly end their sentence right before the lyrics start. What's the secret there? Because that's crazy to me. It was my whole life. I was like, how?
That's called hitting the post,
Okay.
and that is one. Well, if you're doing it live, that's 100% feeling the music, knowing what you're about to say, and knowing how to pace yourself so that you hit that post. You kick those teeth in. You know, if you're recording, pre-recording, it's easier because you still got to know what you're going to say. You can't talk too long, but then you can adjust it so that it happens like that. But you want to always make sure you kick those teeth in and hit that post.
Yeah. So what's next for Bushman?
Comedy. Studying improv and acting and voice acting right now. So I want to be able to do video games, cartoons, um, acting, improv, TV commercials.
I love it, dude. I love it. Would you ever get into stand up?
Yes. Here's the funny thing about stand up, no pun intended. I kind of do it now unintentionally. When I host a concert or I'm doing yeah, or even hosting a comedy show. And I look backstage and I'm getting ready to introduce the next act, and then they're like this, like stretch it out. I end up talking about people in the front row or something I see or whatever like that. And so I end up doing it. And one day I was doing a show and there was a comedian in the audience named Blackberry. And yes, his name was Blackberry. And he's like, dude, you're funny, right? I'm like, no, I just being me. He's like, no, you're funny. We should talk. I'm like, oh, okay. So now I've taken some comedy writing classes, and now I'm working on the improv stuff, and I work on it anywhere and everywhere. Like I could be sitting at our bar, Riva, being very quiet, and then just hit you with a one-liner,
Yeah.
and boom, there you go.
Dude, it's funny. Stand-up comedy is something that I love watching performers, and I feel like when I'm on a stage, I can be funny in the moment. And I've actually had people come up to me after I gave a talk, and they're like, "That was amazing. You could also do stand-up comedy if you want." But the thought of planning an entire set, I don't think I could be funny in that way. It needs to be like in the moment, reactive, that type of
Yes.
thing.
Well, I've learned now there's short form and there's long form. Long form is where they tell you this long story, build you up, make you laugh in between. Or you got the short form where you just punchline, punchline, punchline. It might be cracking jokes on people or whatever like that. I tried to do the long form when I first started taking the class. I think I'm more of a short form guy. Um, but also, it's about your nerves and you being able to get out there and do it. So, last year I wrote a few things and a couple of just different jokes centered around me doing hosting a show about what you can and what you can't do in the arena. And it worked. And then I would mess with some people in the audience, and then I'm off the stage.
I
And
love
before
it, dude. So,
I had 5 minutes.
yeah, I'm excited to watch that journey now that we're connected and see you break into all that stuff and continue to grow in the acting side of things. And you know, you're a guy who clearly, when he sets his mind to it, he achieves that thing. And so, that next phase of your career is that those things start to roll in, dude. I'm your biggest fan, and I can't wait to support you through it. Like I think that's incredible.
I appreciate it, man. I do. I follow you. You inspire me. So, you made me like gut my whole podcast, and then I learning the whole short form, long form about comedy. I decided to do a whole short form podcast show where you can hear conversation with me and my celebrity friends. And I watch what you do, and I support you 100%. You kind of stuck with me now. So I'm not asking for a room at the house, but tell the wife I did say hello, and I'm just
That's so funny, dude. Dude, I love it, man. And I'll tell you this. It's you sharing out my stuff, man. That's the things that light me up because entrepreneurs talk all the time about how like you haven't even you want the goods, you want the connections, you want this that and the other thing, but you haven't done anything to support me and show up. I actually just reposted a reel from a guy who was doing an interview and he was saying that whole thing. Like there's so many people have come to me and like, hey, can you introduce me to this person? I'm like, you've never showed up to a thing I've done. You've never even shared my post. Like, why would I then make this connection for you that's going to benefit you? It's just wild. And I'm sure you get that all the time in your world.
every day,
Yeah.
every single day. Hold on 1 second. I know this is probably unorthodox for you, and but it's happening right now in real time. I got to do a commercial, a live read.
Oh, geez. Let's do it.
Good morning, America. Listen, if you're not sleeping well, it's probably that mattress that you ordered online and came in the mail and it was all shrink wrapped up, and then you had to let it expand. I wasn't sleeping well until I went to Gardner White and I test drove some mattresses. Yeah, you wouldn't buy a car without test driving it. Why are you buying a mattress without test driving it? Go to Gardner White. Tell the person who's a mattress expert how you sleep, and they can find you the perfect mattress for you to lay your body down on, and you can sleep well. I wake up refreshed and energized now that I went to Gardner White and got my brand new mattress. So don't you beat around the bush. Stop by Gardner White today. Yeah, see there.
That's a first on the podcast. We're shouting out Gardner White. I love it, dude. Yeah. And so, dude, was that free flow or were you reading?
That was free flow. That's just me being. I literally went into Gardner White and I did. I test drive drove these mattresses, and I got a brand new mattress, King, and it's one of those Comfortedic mattresses with these nice pillows that cool and everything like that. So I don't endorse anything that I don't use or I don't believe in. And so when endorse it and I believe in it, then when I speak on it, is 100% that is real.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me. I don't run a ton of ads on my show just because, it ruins the flow. But when I do, like I really believe in what this thing all about. Like I have insurance companies reach out to me all the time, like, "Hey, will you read ads?" I'm like, "No, I don't care about insurance, nor does my audience. It won't benefit anybody." Like
Yeah.
it's just crazy. But dude, I've loved this conversation, and I wrap up every single one with the same question. But before we get there, how do people
Okay.
find you? How do people support you? What's all the good stuff?
At Bushman on Air, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. They can find me there. I'm launching my website, bushmanvo.com, and they can find me there. I'm always somewhere, or just Google Bushman Detroit, and you will find me.
It all comes up for sure, dude.
Yep.
Like I said, I wrap up every single interview with the same question. Since the show is called the Growth Now Movement, that question is: in your life, what has been your biggest moment of growth?
Ooh, oddly enough, my biggest moment of growth is shrinkage. I used to be almost 360 pounds, and right now I'm about 215.
Wow, wow.
So my better health. That is my growth right now.
I love it, man. Dude, Bushman, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your wisdom with my audience. This has been fun. I'm sure we'll do it again in the future, but thank you so much.
Absolutely. Like I told you, you're stuck with me now. You got a cousin that you didn't even know about.